Finally, DCI reveals shocking details about the politician who was present during Cyrus Jirongo's death. Welcome to Kenya Lens Media, where we give you news updates the way they break. And if you are new here, kindly consider subscribing to our news channel. Now, Kenya's Directorate of Criminal Investigations, DCI, has clarified the identity of a politician seen at the site of the accident that killed the former Cabinet Secretary Cyrus Jirongo on December 2025. Investigators confirmed the individual was George Haniri, a seasoned politician and former senator who was accompanied by his wife Eunice Chelagat on the day of the incident. The couple visited the scene shortly after the crash and later helped coordinate the transfer of Jirongo's remains from Naivasha Sub-County Hospital to a funeral home in Nairobi. The DCI also said that it has recorded statements from 28 individuals, including passengers from the bus involved in the crash and several prominent figures who voluntarily assisted in the inquiry. The agency stressed that the investigation has been extensive, conducted in line with the law, and has treated all persons of interest fairly. Once completed, the investigation will file and also be forwarded to the Director of Public Prosecutions (DPP) for potential action. The presence of George Haniri at the crash site raised public interest and speculation. According to the DCI, Haniri and his wife arrived at the scene on the day Jirongo died and later helped with the logistics of moving the late politician's body to Lee Funeral Home in Nairobi. Haniri has been described in media reports as a close friend of the deceased, and his involvement was involuntary and cooperative. Also, apart from the investigation, the National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula, who voluntarily recorded his statement with the detectives. Alongside them, statements were taken from passengers aboard the Climax coaches bus that collided with Jirongo's vehicle and from people who had interacted with him earlier that night. Investigators say the process has been broad, involving individuals with direct or indirect knowledge of Jirongo's final hours. According to the DCI, detectives reviewed multiple sources of information and physical evidence as part of the efforts to understand exactly how the crash unfolded. A key revelation is the investigation the key revelation in the investigation is the result of the autopsy conducted on Jirongo's body. Pathologists found that he suffered severe physical trauma, including extensive crash injuries in his chest, vital organs, consistent with a high-impact road collision. The official cause of death was determined to be multiple injuries resulting from the blunt force trauma. The findings align with the earlier medical examinations reported by the family's pathologist, who also documented catastrophic injuries in the chest, abdomen, and spine, pointing to the level of force involved in the crash. The DCI team obtained CCTV footage from the petrol station near the crash site, which helped investigators reconstruct Jirongo's final movements. The footage reportedly shows his vehicle entering the station, exiting, and then moments later being struck in a head-on collision with a Climax Company Limited bus. The fatal crash occurred just after 2:19 a.m. on December 13th, 2025 at the Karai area along the Nairobi-Nakuru Highway, a major transportation route linking Kenya's capital with the western regions. Reports state that Jirongo's Mercedes-Benz collided head-on with the Climax coach's public service vehicle, which was traveling in the opposite direction. According to bus records and river statements, both vehicles were moving at a speed when the crash occurred. Preliminary investigation suggests that Jirongo's vehicle may have entered the wrong lane after exiting the petrol station, leading to the fatal impact. Following the crash, Jirongo's body was taken first to Naivasha Sub-County mortuary and then later moved to Lee Funeral Home in Nairobi for preservation and funeral planning. The death of Cyrus Jirongo, a well-known and controversial political figure, sparked national debate. His family publicly called for a thorough government investigation, expressing doubts about the circumstances that led to the accident and urging authorities to uncover the full truth. Some voices outside the family also raised questions. Prominent lawyer Kibe Mungai suggested that the available evidence did not conclusively prove an accident, arguing for broader inquiry and more independent verification of facts. Despite these competing views, law enforcement officials have repeatedly emphasized that their findings to date showed no clear evidence of foul play. In a statement to the media, the DCI and top police official have urged restraint from speculation and unverified claims that could prejudice the ongoing investigation. Beyond the specific case of Sarah's Jirongo, the tragedy highlights broader issues in Kenya related to road safety, enforcement of traffic regulations, and public confidence in investigations into high-profile deaths. Kenya's highways have been the site of numerous fatal collisions, and according to recent reports, road traffic accidents remain a leading cause of death and injury in the country, with human error, speeding, and road conditions often cited as contributing factors. When a well-known public figure is involved, the lack of swift and transparent information can fuel rumors, conspiracy theories, and political tension. The DCI's public updates and efforts to record statements from prominent figures reflect an attempt to be transparent and thorough amid intense public scrutiny. The inquiry officially remains open. The DCI say its detectives and forensic experts are still analyzing evidence, reviewing statements, and preparing a detailed report. And once the investigative file is complete, it will be sent to the Director of Public Prosecutions (DPP). At the point, prosecutors will divide and decide whether to bring charges, recommend further forensic work, or take other legal action. The involvement of multiple high-profile individuals, including Haniri and Wetangula, and the public interest in the case mean that both legal and political dimensions could continue well after the formal investigation concludes. The ongoing probe into Sarah Jirongo's death matters on several levels. It underscores the need for credible, transparent investigations whenever a prominent public figure dies in suspicious or unclear circumstances. It also highlights the strains on public trust in official processes when rumors and speculations can spread rapidly through media and social platforms. For Kenya, a nation with competitive politics and robust public debate, the handling of this case will be watched closely. The outcome will either bolster confidence in law enforcement institutions or add to calls to reform in how high-profile investigations are concluded and communicated to the public. As the file moves to the DPP, legal scrutiny and public attention will likely continue for months to come. That is all for Kenya Landscope, and that is what we had for you today. But if you are new here, kindly consider subscribing as a way of supporting us grow this platform.